Hi, everyone. Welcome again to part two of our presentation, Teachers Workshop, Train the Mind, Transform the Classroom. We are continuing with our topic, executive functions, and this image in front of you, you will see, you can see basically what happens when we don't use our executive functions. What happens when the flowing of information is interrupted, whether it's under stress, as it says as it shows in the second image, but also many times not because of stress, but out of habit, out of a way of living, a way of doing things. Um, and that is something we need to have in mind as teachers, as leaders of groups of young people who come into our classrooms on a daily basis. We create the culture, of course, with them, but we are the leaders of these cultures, of the habits, the daily habits that help them use the prefrontal cortex and take calculated decisions that help them grow and develop. When we talk about executive functions and ADHD, we cannot not mention Dr. Berkeley. Dr. Russell Berkeley is a really renowned researcher, author, a psychologist in the area of ADHD, and he too, in his books and lectures, explains that the main symptoms that we see of people with ADHD, of living with ADHD, is basically a lot of executive skills that are deficient. They're either developing in a very slow pace or they don't develop um, enough to perform in a given age group. That includes mainly the self-regulatory skills, or what I said, the self-management skills. So again, welcome to part two, and you can look at this image and you just to remind yourself of the 6 task management skills and the 6 self-management skills: quickly, time management, organizational planning, prioritizing task initiation, and sustained attention. In the self-management group, we have impulse control, emotional regulation, working memory, self-awareness, flexibility, and perseverance. All right. Okay. Super important. We are not here in as classroom teachers to remediate or enhance students' executive functions. Our mission is to provide the necessary structure that addresses executive functions weaknesses, or that helps the students really balance their executive functions and through their performance, so that our glass of patience and energy will not run empty after 5 minutes into the lesson. That is the really a specific aim of this workshop. This is my mission today with you, is to keep my cup of energy and patience, which means that to keep the flow of the lesson. So when I enter the classroom with that, metaphorically speaking, glass of patience and energy, I want to keep it full, or at least not empty after a few minutes of the lesson. And that is through keeping the flow of the lesson. All right. When we think about executive functions in the classroom, I would like to divert your attention into 4 domains, 4 performance domains. And there are preparation and arrival, following instructions, assignment completion, and the fourth one, participation. If we want to keep the flow of our lessons, we must put more emphasis and thought in those 4 domains of performance in the classroom. But remember, we said that this workshop is for you, the teacher, and less about the students. So I want to ask you, take the time to reflect which one of these domains is really the one that energizes you, the one that you feel that is your strength. Is it preparation and arrival, Are you ready? Are you the kind of a teacher who prepares very well for a lesson and greets the students in a way that helps them transition and change their mindset into your lesson? Are you that kind of a teacher? Or is that you're very good in helping them follow instructions, making instructions real, making instructions that are consistent, that they have examples to hold on to and know what you actually mean? Or is it about completing assignments? Are you the kind of teachers that design assignments in a way that really helps students uh, complete them, get to the completion, or participation, the creating a classroom environment that is more of a community of learners that helps students participate and communicate with each other. On average, I find that every teacher has one or two areas of these four domains that they're very good at. On the other hand, we do have one or two domains that we're not so good at. So let's time to think about them. Which areas or which domains we're very good at, and which are our weaknesses and can have some improvement. The third question is, what do you think the reason is for those strengths and those weaknesses? Now, for this part two, I'm going to attach the teacher self-assessment of executive functions. So it's for you to fill out, to answer questions about your life as a teacher in terms of all the 12 executive functions. At the end, you're going to calculate the numbers, the rates that you gave to each prompt, each question, and then see which executive functions for educators you you're very you're very good at, and it's well developed and it's well activated, right? It's very much useful for you. And which of the 12 executive functions are less active or less useful for you? This will give you a better outlook of your executive functions map. And this will explain also the four domains. And let me explain. For teachers who are excellent at organizing, planning, and time management, most probably that preparation and arrival will be one of their fortes, one of their strengths. For teachers who are excellent at focus, working memory, and I would say even task initiation, their um, note taking, completing assignments will be more organized for the students, and there are chances that along with some other skills, of course, interpersonal skills, they will be able to create assignments that are very, I would say, accessible and doable for students through the building of habits. In terms of participation, the fourth one, that is that part takes a lot of I would say charisma, a lot of confidence in yourself as a teacher, because you are building a community. Every class that you have, whether it's you have three, four, five, some even if six different groups that they teach, that is extremely hard. um, I would say challenge to build a community of six different communities in of your classrooms, but it's not impossible. And with certain skills such as emotion regulation, impulse control, and flexibility, if you are very determined with good perseverance and you have good self-awareness and a little bit of charisma, of course, you'll be able to create community of communities, even if you teach in multiple classes. It's not easy, but it's doable. So I encourage you to take the self-assessment, the executive function self-assessments for educators, fill it out, calculate the values for each area, and then rate them in a list from strongest to the least strongest, and then you will see, compare it with the four domains that you believe are, your strengths and not strengths, and see if there are any correlation. Staying on the topic of self-awareness, the Dalai Lama there's a famous quote attributed to the Dalai Lama saying, to protect your inner peace, you must learn to observe and not absorb. So the difference between observing and absorbing is humongous, not just a matter of um, two letters. But when we talk about observing, we are the audience, or we are the people, we are the person outside, and we're not becoming entangled in the situation. Absorbing, on the other hand, is when we take it in and often take things personally against us. So when we talk about students who have underdeveloped or not active enough executive functions that are needed for the classroom to function in a group, such as flexibility, impulse control, emotion regulation, oftentimes if we absorb with an A, we may take things personally and find ourselves entangled in an emotional situation that is not beneficial, neither to us as the educators nor to the child, or our relationship with the child, with the student. Learning how to observe, I believe, starts when we understand that there is our executive functions, what we bring to the classroom, and then the rest of the students, the rest of the group, and their development. But first and foremost, understanding what is my executive functions, strengths and weaknesses. And if I'm not good at time management, if I'm not good at planning, I know that arrival and preparation will be very hard for me, and I will need some help. And I will know that, for example, if emotion regulation and impulse control are my strength, I'm not gonna be absorbed in a drama, or some kind of an interruption in the classroom, right? But I will also might have higher expectations and less empathy toward those who do struggle with my strength, with emotional regulation and impulse control. But having this understanding is the key, or the first step, to really keep ourselves from getting absorbed in a situation in the classroom, and again, getting the flow of the lesson interrupted. So if we want to keep the flow uninterrupted, the flow of the lesson, and not find ourselves entangled in drama with students who are challenging, we want to remind ourselves that observing and absorbing are two key components that we need to remind ourselves through the knowledge and the self-awareness of our executive functions. All right, but what can we do when things happen, right? What can we do if I know what my executive functions weaknesses are, and yet I need tools to actually do something about it, right? So again, just drawing on observing and um, absorbing, right? Getting absorbed in a situation leads us to react oftentimes, taking an immediate and impulsive action without much of a thought. But responding is different. Responding is being ready, or taking a thoughtful action toward a situation. A response is usually a better choice because it involves the rational, or rational thinking, or the upstairs brain, as we call it, right? The executive brain. So responding and reacting. But we want to have a plan, right? When these moments occur, when child interrupts the lesson, and we're very much, I would say, sensitive, right? If you have someone who's sensitive to interruptions, when students call out, or when students don't bring all of their material, it depends on your style, and it's all okay. It's just that you need to be aware of what is happening to you when students don't have or cannot match your level or your standards. Students will display rude behavior. They may not be organized. They may jump and speak aloud, right? The work may be not not enough to your standards. But this is really the thing that we need to be aware of. What are the reoccurring behaviors and performances that we cannot tolerate, and what we're going to do about it? Okay, what we're going to do about it in a way that will not destroy the flow of the lesson, that will not destroy the relationship that we have with students, because we don't want to have that. And that will help us stay on the lead of the classroom, stay as the leaders of the group.